Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're so glad to welcome you as part of our community tonight. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and distributed live stream. By entering this virtual meeting, you give your consent to be recorded and distributed by Vienna Live with Simon Morrow and other third parties. If you wish to not be recorded, please go to the LinkedIn Live video feed, the link to which I've just placed in the chat room. Tonight, our featured guest is jazz bassist Alune Wade, whose new album, New African Orleans, will be the subject of tonight's conversation. Welcome, Alune.
Thank you, Simon.
Alune, so tell us a little bit about where you come from, how your musical tastes were formed, and why you decided to become a professional musician.
Well, I think I can tell you where I come from. But how and why I decided to be a professional musician, I don't know, because I think I decided to be a musician since I was maybe 6 or 8 years before knowing what does mean being a professional musician. But first of all, I'm come from Senegal, and I was, surrounded by musicians and instruments at home because my father was musicians, my sisters used to play music, and my uncles. That's why choosing music was very natural for me.
And so you come from a musical family. You were 6, and was there a moment when, I don't know, I know in the United States around 18, parents usually start to tell their kids, you're an adult now, you're gonna get a job, you've got to decide what you want to do with your life. Was there a moment for you when you said, okay, I know that this is going to work, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life?
No, when I was 18, I started to tour all over the world. When I was 18, I started to, I used to work, I used to tour with, playing with a Senegalese musician, a very famous Senegalese musician that time, was almost 30 years ago. His name is Ismail, the Senegalese singer. Then I was 18. That means I decided to be a musician before, maybe when I was 12 or 14. Before being a musician, I wanted to be a soccer player, like, almost all Senegalese or African youth, And until 14, I just decided just to be focused on my instruments, on music. Focus on it, then listen many music from United States, many music from France, and all over the continent, African continent. But my mother, it was a little bit struggle between, myself and her, because it was a kind of way for her to protect her son, because I'm her first son. First boy, and she wanted to me. She was trying to put me on another direction, being doing medicine, being a doctor, or being other things, but not music, because that time in this in the 60s, when she was young, in the 60s, 70s, being musician in Senegal was very rude, was very tough, because of the drug, the alcohol, and she didn't want so her son being like that. That's why she was trying to protect me, and she said, no, you don't have to play music, you don't have to do only music, you have to go to school, and be a doctor or something else, but not musicians. But when I was, I think 15, 16, now she was trying to manage with this, to deal with it. And now, yeah, this boy, he just decided to be a musician. Until when I was 17, 18, few months before I get the job, me and playing with Ismailo, my father asked me, he told me, Alune, now you will turn next year, you will turn 18. Now it's time to decide, to see and to decide what you gotta do. You have to join us. You have to join me on the army because my father was military. He was in the Senegalese army. He was an officer. He was a musician, but officer in the Senegalese army. Tell me, you want to stop going to school? You don't want to do nothing? You have to come to the army. Maybe you can play your music in the army, in the Senegalese army. But I know myself. I know I will not do it. I just say okay, but just continue, to be focused on my music, on what I'm doing until I have 18 years old, 18 and a half. I get the job. I was, and the Ismail management called me. Hey, we are looking for a bass player. We don't know if you will be able to do it, but just come. Then you can make the casting. And I make the casting. I play 2 3 songs. They ask, man, how did you know all this? I was growing up with his music also. It was very easy for me to get the job until that was almost 30 years ago now. And I'm a musician, playing with many artists.
What did your parents say when you came home after that audition?
They were so proud. It was kind of pride for them, yeah, having his song touring all over the world with one of the greatest African artists. That was a kind of, a pride for them. They were very, very proud. My mama also. Then now she started to smile. So, because, now I was very serious. I was focused on my music, on what I'm doing. Since that time, I never drink alcohol. I don't smoke, That's not, because we are a musician or an artist, we have to do this. Then we want to do this. We are just professional. Then they just ask me, okay, now you want to be a musician? So go do your music, but please still focus on it and be disciplined. Don't, drink alcohol or smoke or all those kind of things. Just do your music. And yeah, since more than 30 years now, I'm on it.
Let's listen to our second track. This is Boogie and Juju.
Welcome to the world of Boogie and Juju. Boogie and Juju are brother and sister, divided by a history imposed from the west side. But see them, Boogie and Juju, Boogie and Juju, Boogie and Juju. Here a few centuries later, they are finally united to build a better future together, free from resentment or hatred. Boogie and Juju. Boogie and Juju. Boogie bari dole, juju bari mana. Asiko lawa pau. Boogie bari dole, juju bari mana. Asiko lawa pau. Asiko fe, asiko fa. Asiko lawa. Asiko fe, asiko fa, fa. A boogie body dole, juju body mana. A boogie body dole, juju body mana. Check it. Badu.
Wow. So tell us now, Alune, you came from that time. You were 18. You were suddenly a star touring with the most famous singer in the African continent. And since then, you said that was 30 years ago. Now you've created your life, which is in several time zones. I know that you've got a home in Paris where you're joining us from. You're in Senegal. You're all over the world. You're going to Germany next week. Tell us about this new album and why you decided to make this. What is New African Orleans? Alune, I think you're muted.
Well, the New African story is very full. New African Orleans is a very full story. I used to organize a jazz festival in Senegal in 2014, 10 years ago, 10 or 11 years ago, in Gorée Island. The Gorée Island was the island. It was an island. It is in Senegal, in Dakar, and a lot of African were deported from there, from the Gorée Island, to join, the other side of the continent. I mean, the America and the Caribbean. And I used to organize a jazz festival there, Jazz à Gorée, jazz in Gorée Island. Then it was in 2014. That was the first time I was thinking about doing this link between West Africa, between Senegal and United States in the Caribbean islands, because we share a lot of story, the transatlantic story. And because, jazz is from there. Africa was the base of jazz. United States of America was the factory of jazz. A lot of things happened between, since 400 years ago, the transatlantic history. And that's why I say to myself, maybe it's going to be a good way to put a light on what we shared with United States of America, the story of the musical story and the cultural exchange we have with New Orleans. Because the first time I was in New Orleans in 2016, it was a kind of surprise for me to discover this connection they had with us between West Africa and New Orleans. The food, the music, the groove, the rhythm, and the spiritual, also the voodoo. They use all this kind of the religion. They use this, and I say it's going to be really interesting and very important for us as an African to discover this side of Africa who left Africa since 400 years. Because usually it's always the African American who come to Africa to looking for their roots. And then I said, so now maybe it's time to the roots to go to the America to looking for the branches. If we are the roots, these African American are the branches. These branches we lost since 400 years. And that was the beginning of the story of New African Orleans. And I say, the new generation African who's discovered the other side of the world, who's called New Orleans. And I won't make this the name of the album, New African Orleans, New Africans, but New Orleans. That was the beginning of the story of this album. At the same time, also, I realized I made a movie a documentary about West African and people from New Orleans and Caribbean.
Wow, what a story! And what have so tell us about when you discovered those things, and then you came back to Senegal, or you met people from Senegal. What do you tell them? What do you tell them about what you found in New Orleans? What is this? What are the fruits of those 400 years?
The similarities, a lot of things, and also that was, I participated when I was in New Orleans. When I went there in the last November, yeah, it was that day. I discovered I did the parade. It was they make parade, the second lines outside every Sunday in New Orleans. and I participated with them. I was very excited. It was very interesting because I discovered I saw a lot of people, a lot of Black people, African American people. They look like my sisters or brothers or uncle, or it's the same things, the same skin, the same body, the same, they food, they was eating, chickens or meat outside like we did in Senegal, the same things, and they use the same name, Accra or the Arico. This is amazing, and they eat rice. And I say, these people they left us since 400 years ago, but it's like they still live in Senegal or in Congo or Cameroon or Nigeria. Because when I went to Nigeria also, I discovered the same people. In Ghana is the same. In Senegal is the same. You go to New Orleans, it's the same. I don't know. That's why I say, man, it's time to create a gate to open this door and say we all are the same. We were separate since 400 years ago. That's why I compose also this track, Boogie and Juju. They are brother and sister, divided by history, imposed from the west side, But now they meet together and just trying to build a better future together.
Wow, inspiring. Let's listen to our next track. This is Gris Gris Gombo. So this brings us to the philosophical part of our conversation. The title is New African Orleans. There is an exceptional amount of text in the liner notes to New African Orleans. One of the more strongly worded sections comes under the subheading, quote unquote, background. Quote, we only have a partial idea of the birth and remarkable development of the music born of the transatlantic slave trade, from Malinka ballads to Cuban songs, and from call and response patterns to field hollers and hip hop, Yoruba rhythms to Argentinian tango, from Angolan percussions to the New Orleans brass band sounds, all have roots in Africa and a shackled migration that lasted 4 centuries. No more so than Congo Square in the Louisiana capital. In 2024, we mark the 300th anniversary of the implementation of the Code Noir, which gave enslaved Africans Sundays off to dance. A drop in the ocean, but one which shows the importance of culture as a life buoy against this barbaric trade. As the Guadeloupean writer Danielle Maximin once claimed, our music guided us from the scream to the song, from dragging our chains to dancing. end quote. The music of New African Orleans sounds a lot more friendly than its background does. What kind of place is New African Orleans? And are you recommending we all visit there, even move there? Alune, you were just mentioning how you found the original people from the African continent who have been living in New Orleans. One thing you haven't mentioned are the relations between the Europeans and the Africans and the Americans and all of this complex complex history of those exchanges, which you write so eloquently in the liner notes, were not always nice nor friendly.
Hmm. Well, I think this story also, first of all, we have to, I mean, it was horrible, a horrible story, of course, the slavery story, but the darkness of the story give us the one of the most beautiful things we had in the humanity. I mean, the culture, the music, the jazz. For me, it's very important also to mention this and to just don't turn back always saying, yeah, it was hard, we did this, we was, deported, and just say, this story, okay, it is not only an African story or just Black American, African American story. This is the story who was created by, it's like the triangular thread, This is the music triangular, also culture triangular. The European also participate on its creation, and Chinese, and the African also, and the Americans. My mission is, just trying to federate all these communities. You from Europe, or from United States, or from Africa, we just have to be together and create a better world. But we have to understand it like that. It's like, when I do my casting for my band, when I choose my band, I'm not choosing, I will choose one musician, one Black musician or one white musician. I don't choose the color of the skin, but the color of the music and the experience for anybody. I don't mind who is blue or yellow, and that sees also maybe my riches, the riches and the originality of my music. We cannot say it's the Black music or European music, because I was inspired by many. I have a lot of influences. I was influenced by Jean-Sebastian Bach or Mozart or Elvis Presley or Michael Jackson, Prince, all these musicians, and that's why, by the way, this track that we listen it, originally is from Dr. John. I don't know if you know Dr. John. He's a musician, piano player from New Orleans, and he wrote this story. It's about an African slave who he's from Senegal, who left Senegal to go to Cuba, from Cuba to go to Haiti, and Haiti he comes to New Orleans to live there, and he was a prince when he was in Senegal. Then, Dr. John, the name Dr. John is from this Senegalese slave in the 18th century. And and I was very interested also by this history. That's why I choose also this track. It's, we continue to, to put this light. I told you from the beginning, this light on the line, to better explain the story of the album and the story that we share.
Okay, let's listen to our final track of the evening. This is Same Fufu.
àddina ak lu ci biir jamono xew-xewam doomu adama ci biir yàlla buur may na ko daraja àddina ak lu ci biir jamono xew-xewam
Final thoughts. What do you wish all of us who listen to this album?
Or to listen it with, when they listen, please don't forget to dance, don't forget to smile, and not just being more interested about the story that we share since 400 years ago. And my dream or my wish was do this mixity, make the African American playing African music, and make the African musicians playing American music. That was the goal of this album.
So let's see how we can stay in touch with Alune. His website is easy enough to reach, alunewade.net. And Alune, here we can buy the album. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. From my website, we can have everything. Yeah. The link. Just click on the link, and that's it.
Perfect. Okay, listen to the new album. You can all listen to it right there. So you see, it's all available to everybody right now. And I'm putting Alune's website in the chat room. And Alune, if people want to come see you, then they have also the upcoming tour dates here.
Right. Yeah. I
So
will
you
come
can-
to United States very soon also.
Fantastic.
October, in November for, yeah.
Fantastic. And then we see concerts with Marcus Miller. Fantastic. So that is, again, alunewade.net. And people can reach out to you if they have any questions, Alune?
Absolutely. Yeah. On my website or Instagram, everywhere they want.
Okay,
They
perfect.
can reach me out.
So feel free to reach out to Alune. He's looking forward to hearing your questions, answering your questions, hearing your comments. Thank you so very much to Alune Wade.
Thank you so much, Smil. Thank you to everybody.
So let's take a look at Vienna Live's website, www.simonmore.com. When we get here, we can see that you can easily support Vienna Live. Vienna Live depends completely on corporate and individual sponsors. If Vienna Live is calling for sponsors, for $5 sponsorships, and all you do is you click on sponsor on the website, and then you can easily sign up for the $5 per month sponsorship and get a Vienna Live Celebrates 5 Years mug. Coming up on Wednesday, we have Emma Smith, Bitter Orange. Celebrated jazz vocalist Emma Smith, already a musical force with a devoted and ever-growing following in the UK and European markets, embarks on captivating the US fans with her forthcoming album, Bitter Orange, due out July 18th on La Reserve Records. Known for her virtuosic chops and signature vivacious live shows, Smith, who is a multi-million streams artist, is the first UK artist to join the label's roster and brings a lifetime of stories to these shores. Let's get to know the story of a self-making woman trying to be heard and make an impact and impacts music for the 21st century. Again, that's Emma Smith, Bitter Orange. That is next Wednesday. And all information is available at www.simonmore.com. Once again, thank you so much to Alune Wade. Thank you to Vienna Live's corporate and individual sponsors. Your ongoing support allows Vienna Live to operate as a free classical music public service. Thanks to my cousin Mike, a marketer from Layer App. If you're an architect or an engineer, they have a really cool tool you should check out. Most of all, thanks to you, our participants who make it all worthwhile from Paris, France, and New London, New Hampshire. Goodbye, and see you next Wednesday.
Thank you.